All right, so an article has recently come out stating that housing supply has surged 40% in May for the Fraser Valley real estate market. However, if you actually look into this, new listings have surged 40%, not total excess supply. And in this video, I'm gonna be breaking down all the stats, let you guys know exactly what happened in the month of May. I'm that Agent Kelly. I talk about Canadian real estate in my local market of Abbotsford and the Fraser Valley. If you guys enjoy my content, subscribe to the channel, like this video. If you want to chat one-on-one, I got a link in my description. You can click and book yourself right into my calendar and we can have a chat. Okay, so in the Fraser Valley, we saw 2,226 new listings in April, all the way up to 3,260 for May, which is just under a 40% increase in new listings. However, if we look at inventory sitting at 4,000 in April and then 4,700 in May, we can see that the amount of sales happening swallowed up a large portion of these 40% extra new listings, as we only saw a gain of roughly 15% in inventory. Now, this still is a really big jump in inventory, so I'm not trying to diminish that. 10 to 15% is still a pretty big jump. And then sales went up about 10% from 1,486 to 1,644. Now, despite this, prices still went up in just about every product category in every city across the Fraser Valley. However, if I were to guess, I think we will see prices tick down for June or stay flat, at least for detached homes, and I'll show you why I think that when we get into it. So detached in the Fraser Valley went up $60,000 from $1.442 million to $1.491 million. Condos in the Fraser Valley up 12,000 from 530 to 542,000, and townhomes up 18,000 from 808K to 826K. So now that we know what happened broadly across the Fraser Valley, let's break it down by city. Abbotsford detached went up 70,000 from 1.137 to 1.206 million. I remember back in November seeing a subdividable detached house that somebody let go for $850,000, and now today those detached homes are going for over 1.2 million. So that is insane. Abbotsford condos, no change at all, holding steady at 426,000. Actually surprising to me, considering it still feels like Abbotsford condos are ridiculously hot. They're up 10% in just the last 2 months, and they're still selling through at a 57% sales ratio. And then Abbotsford townhomes with a $16,000 gain from 609 to 625K. I told you guys last month that we would probably see a price gain following this month, because there was 2 months where I felt Abbotsford townhomes were extremely hot. For some reason, it was not registering as a price gain on the HPI. I knew it was coming though. And if we look at inventory for the townhomes, actually went down, and sales are still rocketing. So I'm not sure exactly why this is happening, why Abbotsford townhomes haven't registered a bigger price gain like detached and apartments. Seems to be lagging right now. But if I had to look at this, I think we're probably gonna see a price gain in June, because the sales ratio for townhomes is 69%. Nice, which is a really high sales ratio. So it's going to be difficult to push prices down when the sales ratio is that high and inventory is going down. Oh, and something else I forgot to mention, inventory for Abbotsford detached homes surged a crazy amount, nearly up 30% for May. We should see prices tick down when we get the June stats for Abbotsford detached as well. We have a sales ratio of 24%, which is barely hanging on to a seller's market, and we should see that dip down below 20% in June. All right, we're gonna get into the Langley detached market, up 35,000 from 1.541 to 1.575 million. The inventory situation for Langley detached, very similar to Abbotsford, up nearly 30%. Probably see prices tick down for June. And look at the new listings for Langley detached, 182 to 319, which is like a 73% increase in new listings. That is insane. Langley apartments up another 9,000 from 575 to 584. Langley apartments are only down like 60 grand since the peak, which is roughly 10%, which ain't bad at all considering we're talking about condos in the suburbs. Langley townhomes up 10K from 811 to 821,000. Inventory up about 30% from 104 to 132 on the market right now. And look at this, Langley townhomes were selling at about a 90% sales ratio. That's nuts. And now they're down to about a 70% sales ratio, which is still an absolutely insane sales ratio, but at 90%, that means almost every single townhome that got listed was selling within that same month. And now finally, we're on to Surrey. So Surrey actually, because Surrey's so big, the board splits it up into 3 segments: South Surrey, Surrey, and North Surrey. So Surrey is gonna be like Fleetwood and Sullivan Heights and what else is there? Clayton and Cloverdale and everything in the middle of Surrey, and then North Surrey is obviously Guildford, Bolivar Heights, Whalley, and then we all know what South Surrey is. All right, so for both of these areas, I'm not going to do South Surrey, just Surrey and North Surrey, but for both of these areas, we're up about 40 to 50K for detached homes, and inventory has actually been rising steadily since January for both of these areas, which is interesting. And we're already in a balanced market for North Surrey at a 19% sales ratio and just barely hanging on to a seller's market for Surrey. For apartments, both areas up 10K or less. North Surrey took a drastic jump in new inventory, while Surrey stayed relatively flat. So that's an interesting dynamic there. However, sales ratios for both of these areas are still hot, over 30%. And finally, townhomes, Surrey with a decently big jump of nearly 20K, and North Surrey only $12,000. And for townhomes, the exact opposite of what we saw in apartments, Surrey with a big jump in inventory, while North Surrey stayed flat in the townhome segment. And again, both of these areas still remain at a big sales ratio. So there you have it, guys.